Hi, hi, Miss Peaches. Yes, we're going to be recording a podcast episode now. And I know you're typically not a very vocal kitty, but if you can at least sit here for the next hour or so and be a good little girl, you can totally sit here perfectly fine. It won't be a problem at all. In fact, people will probably appreciate the fact that you're here. Yep, they probably will. Cue the music. Hey guys, welcome to No Talks Allowed. I'm your host Josh, and today you might be seeing me wear a shirt under a shirt, but that's just because I refused to turn my heat on and it got cold again in Ohio. And of course, to shake his head at my own stupidity, I have with me my best friend in the whole wide world, because I don't know any other friend that I have a long distance friendship with, Mr. Bigpod.
Hi.
Which your shirt is black.
Yes, it has some things on, but it's like a not a print, but more like pressing or out in this case.
So it's a
and
press.
it's also black.
Oh, okay. So the camera just can't really pick it up because to me it just to me it's just a black void.
I can barely pick it out. Looking like this, it's clearly like a. Only reason I can pick it out is because it's I see the actual relief, if should that word that it creates, not the actual wording. It's a pretty cool shirt because of that. Something
well,
unique.
anyways, Bigpod, let's just hop right into the show here because we got to talk about Microsoft Exchange. I'm sure
that's not something I thought ever I would be hearing on our show, but yes. Let's talk about Microsoft Exchange.
Yeah, so Microsoft Exchange had an outage yesterday as we record this.
Really?
Yes. Which meant that, email didn't work for the company I work at.
Wow.
Now, the company that I work at also worked for this other company that is a multi-trillion-dollar company. And we're working at a plant that makes a very, very specific product that this company deploys in everything it makes. So when my email's not working, somebody's getting mad.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me that Microsoft Exchange is part of Office 365.
No, it's not. It's part of Microsoft 365, Josh.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. That's true. I see them as basically the same thing. It's just one's more enterprise than the other. But
because they are. One is just more enterprise.
Anyways, do you know what the 365 stands for?
I suppose it stands for, I believe it's 365 availability or something stupid like that.
Yeah, it's the point behind the 365 availability concept, which means that it's supposed to be available 365 days a year.
Well, has it been more than 24 hours since it's been? Has it been across the whole day that it wasn't available?
For some people, yes, and Microsoft has admitted so, because it turns out that also their single sign-on service went down.
Oh.
After the Exchange outage.
Oh, that's a problem then.
Yeah, which it got me looking into this here. This is the 8th time that something has caused something in this 365 package to go down, totaling a cumulative 11 days of downtime.
Ooh, that my guess is probably I don't know how Microsoft can afford that. Seriously, how can Microsoft afford that?
Who knows? Maybe they just make enough money that they just don't care. But at this point,
SLA costs here would be insane,
right? I'm sitting here thinking, just I'm glad we don't use Microsoft products for our show because, we're savages and we self-host a lot of things except our own email because heaven forbid That's a cancer in itself, but thankfully we don't use Microsoft for email because, it turns out that AWS, as much as we talk about them being down all the time, they've had half the downtime that Microsoft has had.
Yeah, but it's important to know that this is on one of their products, not on their cloud, which is very important because cloud is what powers a lot of other services. This is like this is like Office offering and stuff like that. Quite different.
Well, it goes even deeper because, Microsoft also has to very pointedly point out that Microsoft Copilot also went down on the web version, just the web version.
Yeah.
If you were using a version built into like your VS Code instance or in Teams or in the individual Office apps, that was working fine. But the web version was not working.
Yeah.
So they also had to point that out because apparently the AI integration matters that much to them.
Yeah.
But it just makes how long until all these companies just give up on 365? Because there are alternatives.
There are alternatives, but like problem is that most of the time, what are the alternatives? Okay, so an Office 365 or Microsoft 365 subscription gets you centralized email. This would be Exchange Online, which is kind of good. I actually looked at it for my own email, but eventually went with Google. Then you get a Microsoft Office 365 licenses.
That's not one of my cats. That's another cat. Okay.
Which is really good because Office, people use Office all the time.
Yeah.
And you get both on system and online versions of Office, not just the Office for online. You get things like OneNote, OneDrive, and bunch of other stuff, including Copilot, and like bunch of things that I can't even think of the top of my head. That is like what?
I mean,
you're what money?
Okay, so you get what you pay for with the 365 subscription. You get the full Office suite that is basically the industry standard across any industry that you're really working in.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, for some scenarios in some places, just that subscription, just to have access to Microsoft Excel, is worth it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if like really like how much.
Here we go.
Like,
Here we go. I'm gonna tell you right now. So what you get in your 365 business premium, which is what probably most companies would buy. It's 300 users, $22 per user per month. You get advanced identity and access management for up to 300 users, at which point you have to go with an enterprise plan, which is very expensive, probably. You get your own custom domain. You get desktop, mobile, and web versions of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. You get access to Teams, like full-on access to Teams. 1 terabyte of cloud storage per user. You get access to apps like other apps like Forms, Planner, Booking, ClickChamp, Loop. You get Copilot. You get a certain amount of Microsoft Defender service.
Which is probably something that just scans like files that you would add into like your Microsoft Cloud account.
I believe it's also local, but I don't know. We'll have to look. And you get like anytime support and discovery, classification, and protection of sensitive data. And that is for $22 a month per user.
Which for some places that cost might be worth it. The issue is when it comes down to like the downtime. That's really the killer. Because
okay.
If
it will load.
Well, like I understand from like my workplace, like my job doesn't sound like it's super important or anything like that because effectively I'm the scrap guy at my workplace. I just deal with the scrap from their production. But if this was like another company, like the production lines themselves, that's actually like that would actually have like a large financial impact. Like I remember when that CrowdStrike outage happened, the whole plant just shut down.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I found the enterprise plans.
Oh, okay.
Beyond what I just mentioned, you get things like calls outside your organization with Microsoft Teams phone, Power BI access. You have extended detection and response (XDR). So that's your each system and storage. Each system gets its own like EDR solution, and like then you can centrally manage it and so on. You get additional phishing protections. You get data security and compliance for highest risks and regulations, hybrid identity protection. As I said, endpoint detection and response for ransomware. You get things like uh, multiple terabytes per user of OneDrive. You can update and can manage each device through a central plane. Any kind of endpoint management, and of course, anytime phone and web support.
Yeah.
And that is for $57 per user per month at yearly rate.
I mean, it's not the worst deal. So, they did mention, well, more of hint at what the issue, what the fundamental issue was, that there's a section of service infrastructure that is not processing traffic efficiently, and of course they're making configuration changes to remediate that. But that's really what they said, and I'm really hoping that we get like a post-mortem out of this, because Microsoft is also a bit of a spotty company when it comes to stuff like that, but this is a pretty major issue, so maybe we'll get a post-mortem.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Bigpod, it's time we busted out another AI topic, because
Really?
This one's just hilarious. Yeah. Now, I'm certain that you've had to Google the definition of a word or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it turns out that OpenAI was also doing this. And Encyclopedia Britannica and Merriam-Webster have both decided, hey, they're going to sue OpenAI. Which, by the way, Britannica does own a portion of Merriam-Webster. So obviously, this is for OpenAI's training model for their services like ChatGPT, and they're just saying that the training data consisted of over 100,000 online articles that were scraped and used to train the large language models without permission from the publisher. And they're saying that they've discovered this through the tooling generating outputs containing full or partial verbatim reproductions of the content.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's the same like argument that like artists are using to file lawsuits as well.
Yeah.
So now we're starting to get like large book publishers involved in like these lawsuits. So
yeah,
how much longer can we go until every single API is behind some kind of a paywall to just stop the propagation of these large language models? Because I've seen at times where our own server gets a little bit high traffic rate, or a little bit high on the CPU usage, and I go just check. I've looked at that Nginx log before, and I've seen OpenAI show up in that host name.
Yeah, wow. I don't really check that.
Yeah, thankfully our services are really small and really efficient, because realistically, the most you could scrape off of us is a couple HTML pages and maybe a couple of MP3 files. So it's really, really light.
Yeah.
But I get the emails noting the CPU use, and it's like, okay, well, so what is it this time? Is there another container that's crashing on us? Because that's also happened.
Yeah.
But you also got. But I understand that our use case is very small, but a lot of these companies that are dealing with this stuff, they're paying for like the web traffic as well.
Yeah.
So maybe not like these dictionary publishers, because it's just text, but there's still the quantity of scale, which when you're dealing with like just the traffic, just like the network traffic. These two publishers, well, really one publisher, because Britannica owns Merriam-Webster. They're basically like an authority for at least the English language. Like, if it doesn't exist in their dictionary, it's probably not a word. So,
yeah,
they're probably getting hit by not just ChatGPT, but every single language model that deals with just general information.
Yeah.
That said, this isn't the only company that they're filing lawsuits again. They've got a separate lawsuit going against Perplexity, and they're also in joint lawsuits with the New York Times, Mashable, and a couple others across the U.S. and Canada. So things are getting scaled out there. And of course, TechCrunch, the article that I found this off of, did not get any responses from OpenAI.
Yeah.
But who has been pretty informative?
Cool.
I know that we love talking about how people are using OpenClaw to run and ruin all their services. Well, Nvidia has decided that they've had enough of this, and they have officially forked OpenClaw, which they claim that NemoClaw is what they're calling it, is the strategic answer to rapidly evolving AI agent landscape, which is a purpose-built platform that brings open source flexibility to enterprise environments without compromising on security or compliance. So they quite literally forked OpenClaw in the name of security and reliability.
Yeah. Which, ironically, but yeah, I actually think it will be more secure and more reliable, sadly.
Probably, because I know that there's been a couple prompts where people have told OpenClaw to not do things, or prompt it to do prompts before they do things, and it just does the thing anyway.
Not just that, but if I remember correctly, the image for OpenClaw has like multiple thousand, or I think at one point had multiple thousand vulnerabilities.
That too.
Sorry, but for someone like me, it's fucking insane.
Yeah. Like red
2,000 to 3,000 vulnerabilities of all sorts and shapes. I was like, maybe I should make my own image and start publicizing it. It will be actually secure.
You see, you're not the only one, because NanoClaw exists, which is more security sandboxed. PicoClaw exists, which is a fork to make it lightweight for embedded hardware. And of course, ZeroClaw for high performance edge deployments, according to NemoClaw's website here. So I think the NemoClaw is more or less like a direct fork with some hardening, and of course, because of Nvidia, more prioritization towards Nvidia chips, although they claim that AMD and Intel chips will be supported. But they're probably not actively working on those drivers themselves, and probably just pulling from the original branch. Because why would Nvidia make Intel stuff work better?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But while I'm sitting here on this website, I have a button that says that, hey, you can deploy OpenClaw right now, and I'm wondering if I click that button, does it curl a bash script? I'm not gonna hit that live on
No,
the
it
show
does
because I don't.
not.
Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, good.
It's it opens to a literal website called clawbot.ai, cloud.clawbot.ai.
Okay. Well, I clicked that, and now I got a prompt saying that, hey, free credits are included. It'll give me $15 worth of free credits.
Great.
Yeah. So, I don't know if I want to touch anything else on there.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about our headline topic here. Because Bigpod, we could probably talk about this for a while if we really wanted to. So, Stryker is a medical technology giant. They deal with a lot of IT infrastructure for specifically hospitals. And last week they suffered some kind of a cyber attack, and we've got a bit of information out of it. Because it turns out that Handala is a hacktivist group, which is believed to be linked to Iran, according to Bleeping Computer. Came out and said that they managed to access over 200,000 systems, servers, and mobile devices. Managed to steal about 50 terabytes worth of data. And managed to, if they did this, managed to effectively clean up any traces of anything, because there's no indication that data was actually exfiltrated at all. And this was noticed because Stryker employees in multiple countries started to complain that hey, this computer that I was using yesterday has been effectively wiped.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, here is where we can get started talking here. So, according to this report, some employees had personal devices enrolled in the company network and also lost personal data during the wiping process.
Oh, God.
Right? Now, a source familiar with the attack told Bleeping Computer that a wipe command was issued through Intune, which is, of course, a Microsoft-based cloud product for managing endpoints remotely. Which means that an administrative account was accessed. Now, this was done without using any malware. And as far as we can tell, there's no social engineering involved. So, it leads me to think that, somebody opened an administrative account and probably had like a relatively simple password because, it was only temporary, or, maybe it was the initial account and they just forgot to, update the password or, disable the login for that account. Because, that's like the only way that I can really think of this happening relatively easily. Because this is a Microsoft. I've been subject to Intune a few times in my life, and I've seen people log into that dashboard. Normally, it does enforce like a 2-factor authentication.
Yeah.
Which, of course, it does support 2FA through SMS.
Intune should support many types of 2FA. It's Microsoft, after all.
Yep. So, let's talk a little bit here about securing accessible servers, right? Now, I'm almost entirely from the world of Linux, so I know the standard practices of securing your server, specifically a server that's remotely accessible, so a VPS. First thing you should do, disable root login over SSH. And the second thing you do is disable password authentication for SSH. The third thing you could do, enable a firewall. Because a lot of times you install a distro, it's not running a firewall. There might be in the case of Ubuntu, there's a firewall present on the system, but it's not actively running. Now, in your Fedora and Red Hat ecosystem, that firewall will be running by default. At that point, you just check the firewall policy. So those are like the easiest things you could possibly do. There's like several hundred other ways, other things that you can do from there on too. But those are like the very first 3 things that you should just immediately do on any, DigitalOcean droplet, Linode VPS, Amazon EC2 instance, anything that you spin up on Hetzner. Probably the very first 3 things you do. Now, I don't know about Windows Server though. I don't know how much you know about Windows Server, Bigpod.
I know small amount, but yeah, like it's all has to be like secured in some way. But Windows Server has some pretty good security practices from what I know. Since it isn't like directly accessible, as long as you do not do RDP to it or have SSH open, you should be fairly okay from my understanding. But that's the standard stuff even on Linux.
Oh, that's true. Of course, also make sure that your system is relatively up to date too.
Yes, and
keep your system
less
up to
ports
date.
you have open, the better.
Yeah.
So that's how I do things. So, zero trust is the thing you should be thinking about always.
Yep, you gotta, and something that I've been delving into a little bit is looking into like the concept of zero trust SSH as well, where you just have a script that just runs and deletes keys from the SSH access policy after like a set amount of time, and it's just like, hey, just you have to manually re-enter this key after a certain amount of time, otherwise that person just loses access. Because what point is, there are still servers that I don't manage anymore that I know I can SSH into, but I choose not to, and that's not a good thing because I'm not supposed to have access to those. And I'm certain that you've ran into something like that before, Bigpod.
Yeah.
Especially doing the work that you've done previously in the past. So those are a couple things that you can pay attention to. Now, of course, obviously, we all, if you go to Tuxbase.com, you're touching our web server too, and we do have a pretty, we do have some security gaps every now and then.
Yes, but we do try and do as much as we can to secure it.
Yep. Obviously, like I'm slightly annoyed by how I have to SSH into that because I have to go through a jump host nowadays because I just can't SSH directly into Tuxbase.com. I have to go through another server which then jumps to Tuxbase. But that's only a slight headache in an SSH configuration. And of course, we've also got like services that we don't publicly tell you guys about too. That's another thing. If you do a little bit of due diligence, you can find some of the things that we're hosting on that server, but we don't specifically mention them because we want you to, if you're going to be like trying to compromise our stuff, we at least want to have a little bit of added extra work on your end because the more work you have to do to access our stuff means that the less likely you are to actually do it. That's the truth of the day as well. So we've got that going, but of course we've also had stuff that we deployed that got automatically compromised. Because I remember one time you tried setting up like a hedgedoc instance for us, and of course, before you were even done configuring it, it was already compromised.
It wasn't hedgedoc. It was actually the database that was compromised, like literally seconds after it was deployed. That is because if you don't have properly configured firewall, you get hacked. And databases are just one of the easiest way to hack you. That's why you should never put a database directly on the internet.
That's true. And of course, Docker likes to punch holes in firewalls.
Yes.
That's another thing we found out too. So, if you would like to send us an email, because our email works on like Microsoft Exchange, contact@tuxbase.com. We received that email. You send an email to that, it relays that to both me and Bigpod. And I like to respond to emails that we get. I don't know about Bigpod, but I like to respond. And of course, that's just like my preferred way to like talk to the community. I would love to just get in a long email thread with somebody one of these days, just like a back and forth, just like the good old days of the internet. That's how I learned how to use the internet, was through an email client. But of course, people these days, they're a little bit more modern. They use this thing called Discord, which we've got a link for that in the show notes below. But you can go to tuxbase.com/Discord to get our own tailored invite link, because I don't want to pay for I don't want to pay for Nitro just to have like a custom invite link, when we could just point Nginx at the appropriate place.
Yeah.
We've also got our own matrix space, because people hate Discord now.
Yes.
And people actually talk in there.
And
not very often.
Most importantly, it's online most of the time.
Yes, most of the time it's online, unless you do something. Yeah, unless you do something.
Well, actually, the last one, I think it wasn't my fault. I think maybe OpenAI or some DDoS like thing got and tried to hit my server.
Are you sure it wasn't Federation?
No, because like the system was 100% pinned. That isn't Federation.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm certain that we'll work on that and figure out what the cause.
Yeah,
of that was.
we're already solving it by just sidestepping the whole issue. What happened, to making it just better.
Yeah, because we're using the recommended settings for the Synapse server, and there's better things that we can do.
Yeah. Throw more computer at it, first of all.
Well, of course, more computer always better than less computer. Although less computer is cheaper.
Yes, but
that said, if you love our matrix space, or just love the idea that we're savages and we like to self-host everything that we possibly can for the sake of the show, because that gives us ultimate control over it, throw us some money. Patreon.com/NoTuxAllowed.
Yep.
From there, you will get a higher quality audio feed, as well as the pre-show, where sometimes Bigpod and I, we get on some pretty heavy topics, and we might actually argue with each other. You hear us disagree with each other on the show sometimes, but we will get in fights with each other in the pre-show if I ever remember to record one.
Yeah,
because I'm convinced that I will probably never use an immutable distro, and BigPod keeps telling me that I will one of these days, or he has promised to make a proper immutable version of Gen 2 for me.
And Josh keeps telling me that he wouldn't want it.
Yeah, because at some I like to tinker too much with Gen 2, which is half the reason why I keep breaking Gen 2. But the beauty of Gen 2 is that you break something, it's quicker to figure out how to fix it compared to reinstalling Gen 2.
Well, then don't break it.
Well, you see, they set up a binary package repository that makes reinstalling Gen 2 like hours quicker. I can actually get a bootable Gen 2 system installed within half an hour. It's actually kind of impressive compared to it being an all-night affair. It's half the reason why I haven't been doing distro hacking, because most of the time when we're doing distro hacking, I'm installing Gen 2. Which it's so much quicker now. So much quicker. Speaking of which, of distro hacking, did you know that we also have our own YouTube channels?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that you released a video. And you're gonna release another one before this show even this episode even drops.
Hopefully.
But you know the one I'm talking about right now is just you sitting back and drinking a beer.
It's not just 1 hour of me drinking beer, but
I mean, I'm sitting here looking at a pause screen of you looking pretty impressive right now.
well, watch it and you'll see what happens.
Exactly. Just go to youtube.com/@Bigpod and you will find out exactly what we're talking about, because you know he did a React video, and honestly, he did a pretty nice take on the concept of reaction. At least a better take than most React channels that I run into, which is largely why I don't really watch them. But of course, I've also got my own YouTube channel. I still can't hit upload on any videos, I can't hit publish. They're uploaded. I just can't publish them yet. I might just give up and just start publishing them to PeerTube, because then it's impossible to delete those videos afterwards.
Yeah.
Might get me in technically a lot of trouble if people find out, but I'm just about to do it.
Did you just tell me to do something?
No, because I have access to a PeerTube instance that some guy in Florida manages.
Okay,
it'll be fine.
Good.
Yeah. That said, though, if you ever want to set up PeerTube, I'm open to it.
Okay. I think we have everything required to do it.
We technically do, but PeerTube also does transcoding.
Yes. That's the hard part.
That's the hard part, but
yeah.
I'm certain that I have enough random computer bits around together. I can probably throw a transcoding server together for you.
Yeah.
Because it does support set offloading transcoding tasks to other systems.
That is
at least as far as I've been able to tell. Or we might just route it through our fancy VPN service, and whenever you go to videos.tuxbase.com, you just go to that server and just access that directly.
Yeah, we have few ways we can deal with this, because we have clusters of servers these days.
Yeah. We pretend to be smart.
Paid by me and Josh. So Patreon, once again, that would be nice.
That would be nice. Heaven forbid. It's starting to get a little pricey with what we're currently running.
Yes.
And with all the things going on in the world,
it's gonna get pricier.
Well, it's not gonna get pricier, but everything else in my life is going to get pricier.
Yeah.
So support the show if you can.
Yeah.
So that's it for the show today. So Bigpod, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's I'm back playing World of Warcraft. So here in North America, that means that's patch day or reset day. And they just released the raid, so I've got a raid to go do.
Yeah, and reset day for me happens in
about 6 or so hours.
7 hours.
7 hours, yeah.
7 hours and 12 minutes at 9 a.m. Paris time, which is also 9 a.m. local time.
Oh, okay.
Yay, Europe! One time zone, basically 3/4 of Europe.
Yeah, so anyways, we'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.